He isn't a criminal, he's a dairy farmer, but that didn't stop the IRS from seizing nearly $30,000 from the man who owns the Southern Mountain Creamery in Maryland. And he won't be getting any of that money back.
Gosh, that's too bad. It's called civil asset forfeiture, a legal loophole that lets the IRS freeze your business's money without evidence of a crime. How could that be legal, and can it happen to you? We're going to ask Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano just that.
Good morning. Unfortunately, it is legal, and unfortunately, it could happen to almost anybody that the IRS wants to target.
By what law?
Well, there's a law that prohibits structuring. Here's what structuring is. If you deposit $10,000 or more, innocently deposit that in any bank account, the bank has to report that to the federal government and to the IRS.
Because they're looking for drug dealers and money laundering.
Precisely.
Okay.
If in order to avoid that reporting requirement, instead of depositing $10,000, you deposit $9,999, and you do that over and over again for a perfectly innocent reason.
Sure.
The IRS can still look at that and say, you're trying to avoid the reporting requirement. You have structured and structuring your deposits to stay below $10,000. This is a fraud. We're going to seize the money before you can spend it.
But a lot of people actually do that because they know 10,000 bells and whistles go off. This guy runs a dairy farm, had a lot of cash coming in, and so he structured by not putting in the bank more than $10,000 at a time. Yeah. People do it, and yet they froze close to $300,000 of his dollars.
That, of course, disabled his business because he needs cash to operate the business. And ask me if he's got the money back yet. He hasn't.
No.
It is very difficult to get it back. Who is the culprit here? The true culprit is the Congress, which intentionally wrote these laws very loose so that the IRS doesn't even have to have any evidence that the structuring is unlawful. It can just be coincidental. You could be depositing money at $9,999 because you don't want your spouse to see the $10,000 deposits. The IRS doesn't care. If they have an excuse to go after you, if they have the manpower to do it, they will do it.
Well, in many cases, they're not giving it back. I mean, when you look at the numbers here, they've seized an estimated $25 million in forfeiture from just 2005 to 2012, and they've only returned half of it.
All of this started when Congress wrote a law saying if something is used in a crime, the IRS, not the IRS, the government can seize the instrumentality of a crime. Typically, say, a car that the bad guys used to get away in, they could seize the car. From that, we have come to they can seize money in a bank account where there is zero evidence of crime, where they never even charge you with a crime, where they don't even tell you they have seized the money.
Weren't you a judge in a case involving a car?
I was a judge in a case involving a car, a Mercedes, a very expensive Mercedes that was used to transport women of ill repute across the George Washington Bridge from Fort Lee, New Jersey to Manhattan. Yeah. They arrest this guy and they seize the car. The application is
Was it his car?
No, it was not his car. The true owner of the car, his father, makes an application before me to return the car, and the prosecutors go, we can't return the car. Our boss is driving it. The DA himself is driving the car. I said, guess what? If that car is not returned by the end of the day today, the DA is arrested.
Good.
The car was returned.
I bet it was.
Well, this law regarding structuring is screwed up. Congress has got to do something about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to Congress's credit, they're considering it even as we speak.
All right. Judge Napolitano. Man, he was a tough judge. Thank you very much for joining us live.
Pleasure, guys.
High five. It's high five.
Oh, it is
Thursday.
high five.
There you go. Good job, Judge.
Brian came back just in
God
time.
love you, Brian.
All right. All right. Meanwhile, it sounds like the plot of a